And here we are. We are underway now. This is a defeat Ganon seed, and we do have the shortcut to Ganon is this way as the uncle message today. And Michelangelo and Sailor Moon are going to hop out of bed here and get 50 bucks from the first chest, and they have to head to the castle. The reason this is the normal way that Link to the Past is played in the vanilla game. If you're playing the vanilla game, you're going to be doing this every single time.
So that does mean you'll get these item checks taken care of, because sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to come do these in Key Sandy mode if you're doing open. So yeah, the standard just kind of mitigates that risk.
Now you may notice the uncle gave us the bow today. I'll explain the mode icons at the top in a moment, but we are playing on randomized sword settings, so the swords will be in 4 random locations. It means that the uncle does not carry a sword, as we find the flippers in the next chest under the uncle's area. So already we have bow and flippers. This will be a very that's a very interesting start to the seed tonight.
Okay, yeah, bow, flippers. Let's just throw in a moon pearl for good measure. Why don't we? Yeah, so this is Michelangelo. The blue male is Leonardo, but it turns out when you get the red male, it becomes Donatello, who has the purple mask.
I think the reason for why didn't mean to cut you off there, Bob. Sorry. I think the reason for that is because that Raphael is actually the bunny sprite. We actually saw that in a race the other night with the same sprite, where you get Bunny Bean, Raphael wearing a trench coat. I think is the bunny sprite. So they all get featured in this in some way. So both runners are making their way through the castle. Given the really amazing item start here, I don't expect too many more items to show up in the escape sequence, as both runners are now opening the room to the right. They're going to find a key in that room, as well as get another free item, which we'll see what is now. Big 20 in that chest. And the runners are now going to go down 2 sets of stairs, and we're going to find Zelda in the cell.
And of course, Zelda is the person we have to rescue to get through here, but she's not going to stay in the sanctuary for the whole time. I mean, she will if you don't go kill Aghanim, actually. But the plot, of course, you wouldn't do that. So, DaringRetreat taking the bow strats to defeat the ball and chain guard, whereas GTG is throwing a pot, then using the bow in what I call the pot shot strats.
Yeah, no question. That's I saw that GTG was doing a bit of a merge of strategies there. First used the first pot on the green guard, get it out of the way, and then took the second pot over and finished it off with the bow. So it's a little bit time consuming to go back and get the pots, but nonetheless a very effective strategy if you want to make sure you get that kill without any problem. So at this point, DaringRetreat does have a little bit of a lead, probably based on the execution of the area in Zelda's celery into the ball and chain guard. Going to get by this guard who doing a fine job walking towards the pit and staring around in the darkness. Guards don't even go after the characters. I think they're looking for Link. They don't expect these other people leading the princess around.
Well, the real problem here, and I'm gonna might get a little political, but the guards. The guards are ill-equipped. They have these old-timey helmets from which you cannot see out the side. And so it's just very difficult. And you should write your Hyrule Kingsmen and see if you can get those increased. So you can get those upgraded. All right, welcome to the Dark Escape area. I wonder if GTG will be the first to find the Moon Pearl. I hope so, because that would make it canon.
Now, we had a question in the chat. I just want to answer very quickly. The question was, who is the higher seed in this? Daring Retreat came in as a seed 93, 93rd seeded out of the 96 who qualified for this tournament. GTG, meanwhile, GTG came in as a 61, so he has the seed advantage in this matchup for those who are asking.
Yep. So we did find the glove in the Dark Cross room, and Daring Retreat will now be overtaken a little bit by GTG as he had a little bit of trouble killing the Key Rat. That is the true final boss of Escape.
Yeah, that Key Rat is a nasty, nasty final boss, needless to say. The first boss of the game right there. As we find nothing really useful in the chest there, just some bombs, arrows, and health. The usual barrage of junk items, as we like to call them, though the health can be useful until we have too much of it.
And GTG, Daring Retreat, both approaching the exit of Escape, getting out in just over 6 minutes, which is basically what you're going for as a runner of this game.
Yep, 6 minutes is seen as a really good time. Some runners can do it about 5:50, so it's a really good average, 5:50, 6:10 for runners of this game to be able to get through the escape sequence. That's a really good time.
So it's a little lucky for GTG, but so GTG checked their menu to see if they had the map of Hyrule Castle yet, and they didn't. But this is Key Sanity.
Uh-oh.
So they skipped the last chest of Sanctuary. Turns out it was a map. It was a map of Turtle Rock, but they did skip that chest, and that was a little interesting. Key Sanity can really do things to your brain.
Yeah, Hyrule Castle, just to clarify why that's important. In Hyrule Castle, in order to get through the escape, you have to have the escape key to get to the back. Because we find the Moon Pearl down in the Lost Woods, the hole in the Lost Woods. That's a great find. But to finish my thought, we have to have the key to get to the back of Escape. Otherwise, you can't get through the dungeon. You can't get to the Sanctuary. So that key is still going to be in the dungeon somewhere before that key, as you normally would find it. It will tell you it's from this dungeon. But the map and the compass are not. And this might have just been a momentary lapse in GTG's thinking that he already had the map, that he was looking for the map and the compass in that dungeon, which they're not necessarily in that dungeon, only the key is.
That is correct. The only reason the key is in there, and in fact, the key doesn't actually have to be in the dungeon. It just has to be before you get through. It can be out with the uncle. It can actually be in your house.
It can be, yeah. You've got the key for the escape in your chest, and you're set to go, pretty much. You just need to get the princess.
All right, so GGG and Daring Retreat, both, of course, going for Blind's Hut, the most chest-dense location within a reasonable walking distance of Sanctuary. We get the big key of Misery Mire and the Titan's Mitts.
Wow, that didn't take long at all.
So that's Dark World access, everybody.
Yeah, we can just go straight up to get to the Dark World right now and go to Thieves Town if we want to. It's that easy. Like, sub 8-minute Dark World access.
Now, that being said, personally, in Key Sanity, I find that clearing out the Sphere 1, the initially available locations, is pretty valuable.
This is true. You're going to find a good idea of what you can do to start the game, where a good first place to go is just from clearing out those Sphere 1 locations. And there's the compass for the Tower of Harry. Now, something I will point out about Key Sanity is that compasses will tell you how many items you've picked up in the dungeon if you have the compass for that dungeon. If you have the map, meanwhile, you may have noticed the runners have not done a map check yet. The reason they don't do the map check is because there's nothing there yet. If they do a map check, they're not going to find any information because you have to actually get the map in order to know whether that's a crystal or a pendant. As the music is also shuffled, it will not tell you crystal or pendant.
All right, just a big 20 from the bottle vendor as GTG heads into good old-fashioned Chicken Hut.
I thought we might see a chicken clip, but he just threw a couple chickens around for fun, I guess.
Yep. Made an extra chicken appear and an ice rod out of thin air.
Yeah, 5 chickens. I never knew that was even possible. That's interesting.
This one's under the pot. Now.
Oh, that's why. Okay. And there's he likes freeing the chickens, doesn't he? Cape in the back of the tavern today. That's, you know what that tells me? That's an early hint that we may need to check out Bumper Ledge, because Bumper Cave is now fully accessible. And we're only at 10 minutes into the seed.
That is true. Cape also gives us access to that first chest in Aga Tower, which can always be a little out of the way, and sometimes can have exactly what you need. Race game today looks like a small key, so I think GTG will be going back for that.
Yeah, we need to make sure that small key is something we need. DaringRetreat just went straight in, so he has an edge on getting the key. He'll be first to pick up the key, and we're going to keep an eye on him to see where that key is from. And as we get to that key, 10 seconds, great time. You can have this trash key. This trash opens Swamp Palace.
Whoa! Swamp Palace, that is the one key that you really, really want to see, you know, as early as possible.
I have a feeling that man used to be the caretaker of it, and that's why he thinks the key is trash. Maybe. I don't know.
All right, so DaringRetreat will now be heading to the dam. Going to take care of this, of the floodgate, and potentially head to Mini Moldorm Cave. Though I know some people will go to Agina's Cave from here. Got a Skullwood Small Key. So, Skullwood Small Key, not technically required for any of the dungeon, but the logic will expect you to have both of those, both Skullwood Small Keys, before you head out to Mothula.
GTG is making the trip that I suggested someone might make to the Dark World, already getting a look at Skull Woods, speaking of that. DaringRetreat's the one I think you said who picked up the key. GTG does not have that key yet, but he is going to find one key in here, we know for sure, because it's possible to get soft locked in that room. And there's again this tower key right there. So don't need that for a while, but we do have one in possession for the trip upstairs later.
Meanwhile, DaringRetreat is sort of on the way to Agina's Cave, but it's also picking up money, and GTG picked up a sword in the southwest section of Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's a great pickup for GTG. That's one of the 4 sword upgrades. Now, something about how these sword upgrades work in the randomizer. The first sword you pick up will always be that plain old sword that you would get from the uncle. The second sword will always be the master sword. Then you're going to get the tempered sword, as there's that key I mentioned. Tempered sword, and then the gold sword, which we like to call the butter sword. Those 4 swords will always appear in that order, no matter what order you pick them up. So if DaringRetreat gets another sword and comes back here later, it will be a different sword in Skullwoods for him.
Right. And as it might be confusing, earlier I said that the logic expects you to have both small keys from Skullwoods before you see Mothula. That does not include the guaranteed one. So it's both of the other small keys. And DaringRetreat sees 50 rupees on the ledge, and we can see him head to Agina's Cave. Meanwhile, GTG is pushing the statue in the awful Gibdo room.
Now, something I was asking the runners before the race, I'd like to try and get some information before the race when possible. I asked both runners their strategies today. DaringRetreat made an interesting comment. He said that because he is in a situation where he does not have any wins yet, he hasn't won a single race in the group stage yet. He said he might make a lot of gambles. The play to Agina comes across to me as one of those gambles he was talking about possibly making, trying to find some progression that GTG might not get to before him.
Speaking of GTG, he just picked up a small key to Turtle Rock, which is always going to be important, you know, if you have to go in there.
I agree.
There are plenty of chests in there that are actually locked by all 4 small keys in the logic. All right, DaringRetreat heading for Mini Moldorm Cave. 5 items we haven't seen yet, and GTG's going for that Bumper Cave. Oh,
Oh, we're going to pick
your
that up. That's a big key.
Yeah, it looks like your instincts were on point. The big key of something is available here on Bumper Cave.
I would laugh if that's a Ganon's Tower big key, but I think it's too early for that, so I'm not going to bank on that one.
Ooh, Daring Retreat finds a book.
Nice.
And a Misery Mire small key. Super unimportant, but there is some logic implications there. And a shovel.
So GTG is going to put the cape on, find his way through a bouncy block, or a bouncy circle, and pick up the big key. And that big key out there today is for Dark Palace. That's the Palace of Darkness, and takes a quick death from a bird as he hops down.
Yep. Palace of Darkness sitting over there on the east side of the Dark World, and is, of course, in Key Sanity, one of the most item-rich locations in the world. There are 14 chests in there, and every single one of them can be a good item.
Yeah, I mean, Key Sanity, it's not uncommon to see 2, 3, sometimes even 4 items sitting over in Palace of Darkness, just because it's such a dense location, and the randomization can put a lot of things in there that are very important. So it's not uncommon to see that. I have seen that myself before, too.
There's the second Mire key for Daring Retreat. In addition to having the Mire big key, so the thing with the Mire keys is they only lock 2 chests in Mire, and those are the ones that the fire source also locks.
It makes you wonder if that, unless we find a clue, we haven't seen any clues yet, I don't think. Until we find a clue saying what they are, I wonder if those chests could have something to do with the progression today. And GTG gets his 20 bucks out of the dam and ignores the fish, which is a standard play.
Speaking of clues, you know what Daring Retreat could do here? And GTG could also do it? You could dip into Ice Palace and read the hint.
Yeah, it actually would be interesting if one of them stops and does that. Now, I don't expect them to, because Ice Palace is a place that no one really wants to go, and you can't go in anyway. So they could probably wait and check it later.
It's also kind of a one-way trip without the mirror.
So. Yeah, it is. And GG gets his book, key, and shovel and other goodies that are in the back of Mini Moldorm Cave. And Daring Retreat is hopping into the portal. He's on his way to the Zora location. So we're going to find out what's in Waterfall Cave today. We have the Moon Pearl, but we don't need the glitch because they do have the flippers. So the 2 chests in here are completely within logic right now. In these 2 chests today, we have the Ether Medallion and a key for Ganon's Tower, second key for Ganon's Tower. And now, something I want to note regarding the medallions, I like to always explain this for anyone who might be new and watching. We have 3 medallions in the game. You can see on Daring Retreat side, the second one is Ether, the one that is now lit up. In order, they are Bombos, Ether, and Quake. Now, you may notice in the bottom row, we have 2 circles on 2 of the dungeons at the very right of the tracker. Those represent Bombos, Ether, or Quake, but they are blank for right now until we know whether those 2 dungeons, Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, will have which of those medallions to gain entry. Once we know that, we will fill that in, and that will be that will give us information on the routing of those dungeons today.
Early versions of the randomizer did not worry about changing the medallions for the dungeons requirements, but that was added as a feature in, I think, like version 6 or something, and it was well received.
I wasn't around that far back. I started around version 26 myself, but yeah, that was a very excellent addition. I'm happy to see things like that being shuffled in the randomizer as well and considered by the logic.
All right. So, GTG and Daring Retreat both finishing up with their respective checks and heading to this, or to Link's house, but Daring Retreat is about to go digging. Oh, the shovel leads to the hammer today, and that is additional Dark World access.
That's almost the entire Dark World access. The only thing we don't know... Well, actually, I take that back. We still need to get the hook shot to get full access to the right side Death Mountain. But, yeah, that's a lot of Dark World access, and it leads to the suggestion that Ganon is not required for access to the Dark World, but there is still the possibility. I don't think we've seen the item on the Lumberjack yet. And I called a race yesterday where that Fire Rod was on the Lumberjack, so if there was something on that Lumberjack ledge, Ganon could still be needed for that today.
Well, now it's time for Hype Cave.
Ooh, yay! And GTG is going to check his waterfall chest as well. He's going to get his Ether Medallion as DaringRetreat takes some residual bomb damage entering Hype Cave. Going to talk to the thief in front as he bombs the hole in the back. Doesn't take any damage from the bomb because it's in the animation. Gets a piece of heart. Gets a map for Ice Palace. A key for Turtle Rock. 300 rupees. And the booty.
Whoa, there we go.
Dr. Bob, rate this Hype Cave.
Well, I'm going to give it about a 6. I'm going to say 6 out of 10. Boots are very nice. Not technically required necessarily, but very nice for getting fast. And of course, a small key to Turtle Rock and some money to help you out there as well. We are going to see what the 5 and 6 crystals are. Those are Tower of Hera and Turtle Rock.
That's an interesting combination. The fact that Turtle Rock is in a dungeon that requires a lot of items to enter lowers the possibility that the Pyramid Fairy location, which is locked by the 5-6 crystals, would be required. But that if once those 2 crystals are found, that does open that location as well.
All right, Mr. JR Stumpsman over here with just a big 20. And we're going to see what the digging game has to offer.
Bit of a trek over there still, but DaringRetreat is heading in that general direction. I think he will check out Village of Outcasts right afterwards as well, and possibly Thieves Town. As GTG now heads towards his hammer pickup in the Grove. And we have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle with a shovel digging the ground. That's something you don't ever expect to see. It looks like the 20 rupees was the prize for the shovel game today. Not a very nominal prize given how much you pay to play the game, but oh well, it's some money back. I'm surprised he did not stop to pick up the frog on his way up to Village of Outcasts, but then, of course, he doesn't have the mirror yet. I guess he's not ready to make the trip back to Kakariko with him when he gets back to the Light World.
All right, DaringRetreat now grabbing a pod small key from the brewery location, as it's called in the spoilers. And now touring the rest of the Village of Outcasts.
Just a piece of heart in the treasure game. So let's see what GTG is going to go check the Agina item at this time. I apologize for that. And DaringRetreat is going to continue his clean out of the Village of Outcasts as he enters the C-shaped house and gets a piece of heart out of there.
And now DaringRetreat will be entering another 4-chest overworld cave, Thieves Town. No, he's not going there.
Nope. I think he's doing the hammer pegs.
Thieves Town is not just a 4-chest overworld cave, but it feels like it a lot of times in Key Sanity, because you often have to go in there without the big key.
Yeah, very often. And they don't have it yet in this case. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier where DaringRetreat mentioned he was going to probably do a lot of risks today. This is, again, something that GTG has not checked yet, something that he might try to route in later with the mirror when he's doing the dwarf. DaringRetreat wanted to check this early just in case there was something here. So this goes with his strategy of taking some risks today.
Yeah, the lack of sword was really painful there on the hammer pegs. All right, so GTG using that book to enter Desert Palace. Sure would be nice if they had those boots.
And DaringRetreat is going into Thieves' Town, meanwhile, where he does have his boots. So we'll see in a moment what GTG finds on the torch, and we'll know whether those boots are actually required to finish Desert Palace. Whoa! There's the mirror. We have a mirror. That would have been useful for DaringRetreat to do the lumberjack just a couple minutes ago.
The boots requires a bomb. That could give GTG some hint as to where those boots are. He may be making a beeline for Hype Cave in that case.
I think you're right. I think he's on his way there. As soon as he saw that hit, he was like, "Okay, see ya." So we do have a key to Misery Mire. That's our third key to Misery Mire, I think. I don't think GTG picked up that one yet. So I think that's all the keys for Misery Mire accounted for.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would bet heavily on there being something fire locked in Misery Mire.
I would too at this point. I agree with you on that. And DaringRetreat does take the Death Warp. Took a little time to get the damage on him to do that, unfortunately. And GTG, as you surmised, going straight to Hype Cave. He's going to find his boots back there and realize that he solved that hint very quickly.
And so DaringRetreat will also be going to pick up that Palace of Darkness big key, it looks like.
And with the very early access, basically at about 10 minutes, I think we got the cape. Definitely worthwhile checking. He is going to get that key right now. After he hammers that annoying guy, our guard who was annoying him. Oh, he took the death before he got it. We'll see if he comes back here before too long. There's not a lot of dungeons that can be fully cleared right now, so he might just try to come back here at a later time instead of doing it immediately. But he's going to probably wish later that he had that without taking the death.
They don't call them murderdactyls for nothing, folks. Now, GTG is making an interesting play. He's going into Swamp without the hook shot.
That is a very interesting play. Let's see if that pays off for him today. DaringRetreat gets some bombs. I believe that was
gonna.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say if he's not bothering with the hint here, but yeah, he's going back for it.
Some cash is held with the fishes. Thanks, game.
Did somebody do Zora already?
DaringRetreat did do Zora, but that could be referring to either Zora or the Grumpy Fish.
Right, I was trying to remember if Zora had money, because if he didn't, now we know that Catfish does.
And to answer
it was
question,
10 arrows, it looks like.
Yeah, it was 10 arrows. So yeah, to answer a question in chat, it only means one of the fish. There's 2 fish in the game, so when it says fishes, it means one of those fish, referring to the fishes as a collective. So if 10 arrows was on Zora, then yes, Catfish has to have money, and we're not going to be making a trip to Catfish here. At least GTG won't at this time.
Yeah, that is pretty nice to know in Key Sanity mode. Because a lot of times you'll just want to go to Catfish anyway, because there's just, again, so many things you need to find. But with that piece of information, no chance of going there.
That's a nice 2.5 or so trip saved. And granted, he might have been able to route that in, checking the mushroom or something benign like that later. But no need to take the extra 30 seconds even doing that now.
Alright, so DaringRetreat is now in Skull Woods, going to pick up the sword, and gets a little bit of a advantage over GTG's traversal as he has this small key coming in.
Ooh, the map of Thieves Town in the lower half of Swamp there.
Alright, that'll let us know if we actually have to finish Thieves Town, which of course would require finding the big key. And GTG will be heading to the left side of Swamp. No surprises here, because at the moment, can't head to the back.
The question will be, will the left side of Swamp pay off today, or will this be, because I don't think we've seen anything valuable in here so far. So if there's nothing in the 2 or 3 chests over here, then this would be a venture where nothing was gained. So we'll see in a moment whether there's something over here for him. DaringRetreat is covering tracks that GTG already did in the Skull Woods area. He's now in that annoying Gibdo statue hand wallmaster room.
So I definitely like going into Swamp and Key Sanity. I just don't like doing it without the hookshot.
I agree. It takes so long just to flood the dam, unless you're an entrance shuffle and it's permanently flooded anyway once you flood it. But if it takes so long to flood the dam that it just feels like you're wasting time to have to do it repeatedly. So a lot of runners will opt to not go into Swamp without the hookshot for that reason. And that's why I find a lot of runners tend to avoid Swamp for as long as they can.
So it looks like DaringRetreat took an intentional death to get out of that room. We've got 50 rupees on the left side, the west chest of Swamp. And of course, due to the lack of hookshot, we've got to go upstairs once again.
Getting a little bit of exercise going up those stairs repeatedly today. And moving up to the top right now, we have one more chest to find up there.
All right, DaringRetreat going for that big key one more time.
I think he'll get it this time. He's pretty good on health at this point. Oh, the flute!
Uh-oh.
It's time to toot the flute.
Oh, is the hookshot going to be on the left side of Meyer? Is that what's happening here?
That would be ugly, but I can see that happening now.
You got the boots so you can get in. Oh, that's mean.
That would be really mean. I sound like I'm laughing, yes, but that would be really mean. And DaringRetreat gets his Palace of Darkness big key.
Now, Pod itself is not a terrible play right now. It's not great, but it's not terrible. You have the bow, so you can check a lot of chests without even opening any doors. I believe if you play your cards right, you can get like 9 or 10 of the chests in there.
We have a lumberjack check, by the way. Just money up there today. So I think at this point, we can confirm that Aghanim is about 99%, maybe 100% not required.
Yeah, Aghanim himself, I believe we can say 100% not required. Aghanim's tower, no dice. We can't rule that out.
Yes, we may still have to visit Aghanim's tower for an item, as Bob just noted. GTG, when I was asking, hold on a moment.
I always say hello to everybody's favorite swag duck.
I always like to let that play as well. So the goose is loose, as many in the community would say. And GTG immediately puts the duck taxi to use. What I was going to say a moment before he started the flute tooting there was that GTG mentioned in his, when I asked him about his strategy before the race, he mentioned that he often forgets about Aghanim's tower. So his concern is just remembering to even go there in the event that he gets those keys and remembers to check those chests.
Okay. I was like, what is GTG doing? I thought, are you going to Ice Palace? You can't get into Ice. Oh, getting some bomb upgrade situation. So the bomb upgrades are very nice in V30. I like them.
Yes, you may have noticed that the arrow, for everyone watching, you may have noticed that the arrow upgrades are also there. The bomb upgrades and the arrow upgrades used to be included in the item pool. Now you have to go buy them. That means there's more sticks and more bombs and things like that in the actual item pool to make up for the absence of them in the item pool. The advantage of this is that if you have none of either the bombs or the arrows, you're actually able to go visit this ferry, buy the upgrade, and your 0 instantly turns into a 15, 20, 25, 35, whatever the number is for that item.
Yeah, so it's a free refill if you need it. which, can sometimes happen if you're going into Ice Palace or something. Like you need bombs to do bomb jumps and you're out because, I don't know, you spent them all trying to do a Fire Sword Vitreous.
Now GTG is making the play on Death Mountain. Now normally without the lamp, the lamp is usually the way that you would get up here because you have to get the old man, get the item from him, open the unlock point. But now GTG can just go straight to Death Mountain using the flute, which normally in the vanilla game is not found until much later. And because he now can go to Death Mountain, everything up here is in logic, as if the lamp had given access. So the lamp is not necessarily behind in dark access. That lamp could even be up here for all we know.
There is another small key to Pod there in Spectacle Rock Cave. Now, GTG did find the Tower of Hera big key on the old man. He can't actually get to Tower of Hera at the moment. That is the real... Wait, yes he can. He's got the mirror. What am I talking about? I'm a dumb.
Yeah, he has the mirror, so he can't get there.
I had the two runners confused. One of our runners doesn't have the mirror, but it's not GTG. He can absolutely go to Tower of Hera. What'll be funny is if the lamp is in Tower of Hera.
Now, meanwhile, Daring Retreat is doing the search of Palace of Darkness front area. I think that said Tower of Hera key, did it not?
Tracker is saying Turtle Rock.
Oh, my mistake, man. I didn't catch what the dungeon was in time. But I noticed it was a small key.
That makes 3 Turtle Rock keys, so that puts a lot of, just a whole lot of the chests in there.
The Turtle Rock big key in a chest requiring the specialist to unlock. Guess what? We're visiting Gary today.
Yeah, the purple chest, which is activated after completing the blacksmith side quest. Turns out it's going to be required. Hey, the Palace of Darkness big key requires the cape, but we know that
Thanks,
already.
game! And GTG pushes crabs into holes. The very quick and convenient way to get rid of them to get out of the room. And is now accessing the big key door and is on his way up to fight the lovely, lovely Moldorm at the top of Tower Hera.
Well, hello there, Master Sword for Daring Retreat. That'll allow him to actually access that bottle we saw for GTG up there on the Ether tablet. And Daring Retreat, of course, finds the world's most useless map.
Now, you mentioned GTG finding that particular map there. I wonder if he's going to remember the Sanctuary chest now.
It wasn't GTG that found the map.
Hyrule one?
Well, no, it was Hyrule Castle, but Daring Retreat found it, not GTG.
My mistake.
But if GTG comes into Pod and finds it, he might be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Meanwhile, he is going to fight Moldorm. He is going to be the first of our runners to take out a boss here today and get one of the somethings. In this case, it is a 5/6 crystal.
That is correct. And we've got a small key to Castle Tower.
Well, let's see if he actually rushed those 2 chests in. He doesn't have the lamp for the second one yet, but if he's okay with the first dark room, he may try that. DaringRetreat did mention to me that he does not do the hammer yump, so he's going to need to find another key in order to get to that dark side on the left. He might try the hammer yump. Let me see if he tries.
Oh, he's trying for it.
He's trying it. He's actually trying it.
He's not going to get it doing that, but...
No.
He gave it one good shot.
He wanted to give it a try, yeah.
I mean, I pause buffer the snot out of that to make it work.
And we have a magnetic circle that points towards Desert Palace. We're not too concerned about that because even though it does have the ability, the big key of Ice Palace was in Palace of Darkness as well, by the way. Even though that compass does count items, it's not very often our runners of the caliber in this tournament are going to be relying on that count because they already have a good idea what kind of count there is on items in there.
Yeah, so the Ice Palace big key is interesting. We still don't have the necessary implements to actually do anything in Ice Palace.
GTG, meanwhile, is in Paradox Cave. We had another compass, Thieves Town, I believe it was, and 10 wooden sticks that are designed for usage with a bow. And he is taking out the 3 mini molars before worrying about the 5 chests at the back. The door is opened. And let's see what those chests have in them right now. We have a small key to Palace of Darkness, more wooden sticks, a big 20, and 2 more. Upper right is $50, and a piece of heart.
Meanwhile, on the right-hand side of the screen, we located the Bombos medallion and found out that the green pendant is in Thieves Town today.
That could be an interesting play.
So Bombos gives us Ice Palace access.
Yes, it does.
And with that Ice Palace big key, Daring Retreat may actually just go for it. I mean, I would.
Of course, he doesn't have the mirror yet, so when he does do that, he's going to have to save and quit to get out of that area when he's done. I'm wondering if that might be... I know runners don't like to access Ice Palace early either. He only has 8 hearts, and I know Cold Stare does quite a bit of damage in that boss fight if something goes wrong. So he may just decide to wait on that. We'll have to see what he decides to do later. GTG, meanwhile, is opening up a Turtle Rock. He can't go in because he doesn't have the King of Samaria unless he can hover, but he's just going in for the hint, I believe. A unique item in the Lost Woods.
Yeah.
Thanks, game.
That was true. That was the Moon Pearl. If you didn't have that already, you'd be panicking right now.
Pretty much.
Because that means pedestal.
And Super Bunny Cave has the single green rupee and a much more denominational variety.
All right. GTG now heading over to Hookshot Cave. We can get one of the chests here. And with extremely precise button pressing, we can reach the others, but it's not something that everybody really wants to do. GTG's going to try it, though.
Oh, he's going to try to hover first. He's going to shoot the squid out of the way.
Oh.
Nope.
Ooh.
And once is enough.
I mean, made it a fair distance there.
And takes a death.
That is, in fact, the first bottle we've seen, like,
acquired. It is. That does route Sick Kid into play now for GTG. Sick Kid might have something. I think he's fluting the 3. Oh, nope, he's going to the Misery Mire area. So much for me guessing. So he's going to go to the Misery Mire area. And you mentioned earlier, Bob, that you have strong suspicions that the left side of Swamp, or even of Misery Mire, or even just Misery Mire in general, is a very good play today. With all the Misery Mire small keys in possession, and 2 of the medallions in possession as well. I didn't catch what the entry medallion was.
It looks like Quake to me.
Then he has access to it, and that's a really good play right now for him.
Now, the downside is you can't actually reach the left-hand side at the moment due to lack of fire source.
Correct. But wouldn't it be interesting if the fire source is in here?
It would be kind of ridiculous.
Not the first time, though. I mean, it could be. We could have a lantern right here in Checkerboard Cave, for all we know. or just some explosives.
Speaking of Ice Palace, Daring Retreat going for it. So Ice Palace has gotten significantly higher value in version 30 because of the hints. There are 3 hint tiles in Ice Palace. That was not quite a bit of value, though. That was bad.
There's no guarantee that the 3 hint tiles are useful hint tiles, depending on the seed. But, yeah, they are helpers sometimes.
Ice Palace is like, I'm helping! No, you're not. Alright, so both runners inside of a late-game dungeon at the moment, with a relatively low number of hearts for the visiting of these particular locations.
And DTG goes after. He doesn't have the KS Mario, so he can't do any quick kill strats on the Wizrobes there. He does get through them, however, and he is in the main room, as I like to call it, of Misery Mire, going to go towards the chest on the bridge at the 2 rooms to the north. Make that 3 rooms to the north. I can't count, apparently.
And we've got a map, this time to Desert Palace. Daring Retreat now heading through the...
misses the bomb throw.
Yeah, the slow section of Ice Palace, as I call it, because you have a lot of execution stuff you have to do before you can actually get to the good items, or the places where the items can be. Piece of Heart over on the left-hand side of your screen for GTG.
A piece of heart is in plain sight.
Yeah, also,
I think we've seen that already.
Great hint there.
What was that you said about Ice Palace having more value with the hints?
I mean, it does. The third one's going to be the Gansar Big Key hint, so... I mean, maybe.
Could also tell us where the lamp is.
And GTG finds a GT key there in Misery Mire.
I think that's our 3rd GT key we've seen in this seed so far, if I've been counting correctly.
I believe that is correct. We've got the map of Misery Mire. And it's time to go check the big chest. If I had a dime for every time I've seen the lamp in the big chest of Misery Mire, I'd have like 50 cents.
What about the fire rod?
Fire rod, good enough.
That's close enough. You'd have if you had the same thing for the fire rod.
Oh, GTG just left the hook shot behind. I mean, maybe, probably not, but still.
He could have done
Ice Palace small key in Ice Palace.
He could have done the fire side of Mire now. You are correct that fire rod would get him in there. So I'm actually a little upset that he didn't do that, only because we have another hint tile up there he could have checked as well.
Yep, and with the huge amount of keys you found, the logic is telling you there can definitely be something there.
I think there is. So that might be a very unfortunate skip. And hopefully he remembers to go back to Desert Palace later, because that will get him to go into Mire again later as well. We do get a map check. We do see crystals in Misery Mire and Skullwoods. Now, I don't think we had either of those marked yet, so we now know that those are crystals.
Daring Retreat locates the big key of Thieves Town over in Ice Palace.
I think we know what he's doing next.
And another pod key.
Is that 4 now or 5?
I think between the 2 runners, it's 5. GTG has quite a few, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be making that up.
I'll see if I can get a look at the menu to confirm how many each has, but I think they were each shown as having 2. I don't know if the last one was found was just added yet, but that would mean that they found 5 different keys among the 5 that are in their trackers in that case. Daring Retreat is, oh, there's the small key Tower of Hera, so that's, the coffee break is now available, and he has the fire rod, so he can do that.
Daring Retreat has located the vanilla blue male, ladies and gentlemen.
Now that's interesting. And as the blue male is found, Michelangelo heads off and say hello to Leonardo.
Yep. Leonardo, of course, being the only Ninja Turtle who carries his appropriate weapon in this game.
Yep, exactly. And we have a small key here in the tea room to Thieves Town. That opens the hammer chest. So there is a couple of interesting loose ends we can try to route in later now.
Well, I mean, that's actually pretty nice because, you know, if somebody's going to go to Thieves Town,
yeah, the big key and the big key and small key, I think we're both in here.
Yeah, so you're not going to really get locked out there. Nobody's going to orphan the big chest of Thieves Town today. Because I really hate orphaning the big chest of Thieves Town.
Me too, yeah. And GTG is fighting a giant bug right now on a conveyor that's designed to kill him. So the bug makes his way back to the top of the room. He's trying to stay near the spike so he can't be damaged too much. GTG is timing his fire rod and hammer shots, trying to do it away from the spike so he can get his damage in. Taking a little bit of time, but he gets down to 2 hearts and finishes it off. Daring Retreat, meanwhile, is going to drop in on the Cold Stare fight. We have a big key to Eastern Palace on the bug as well, by the way.
Very nice.
Daring Retreat, while the second crystal is shown for GTG, Daring Retreat is doing his Cold Stare fight. Gets rid of the shell around the 3 eyes. Kirby fans like to refer to this boss as Krakow because it reminds them of a certain boss that has an eye in that game. So the 3 eyes got away, and not a very clean start to the fight, so it makes this fight a lot harder having to fight the eyes as they're all roving around with ice dropping down on you.
So I'm just gonna there's a bee on the pedestal. So I'm just gonna throw this out there. What happened was when Crackle entered the Zelda universe, he actually suffered a dimensional accident and split into 2 bosses. That would be Cold Stare and Vitreous.
Oh my. As Daring Retreat takes a death, I won't even think about that because that's scary. But he decides to not bother trying to go back to Cold Stare. It's a long trek. I don't blame him. Come back if he needs it later when he's a lot healthier.
That is very unfortunate on Daring Retreat's end. I wouldn't be too concerned if I were Daring Retreat about that until I find the other Ice Palace small key. Or whether Samaria.
Or until he finds the map saying that it's a crystal or pendant, because that could also have some impact on that.
All right, Daring Retreat now heading into the Dark World, undoubtedly going to clear out Thieves Town.
Yeah, without question. He's got everything for Thieves Town. There's no reason not to take care of it at this time. That's exactly where
he's going. A unique item is above the pose.
Interesting.
It's the single arrow.
Yeah. Well, it is a unique item. It is the only one in the pool.
All right, Daring Retreat now heading into the back of Thieves Town. Will be the first one to check this area. And GTG is going to go to Sick Kid.
And the Sick Kid today pulls out from under his bed $20. Well, it's nice of the Sick Kid to offer his allowance to the saving of Hyrule. GTG tooting the flute a little bit there. Missed the duck the first time. Heading towards Palace of Darkness, it looks like. And 2 keys. A little seems kind of early, but you never know. There could be a couple keys. What was going on? What was that hint?
The hint in Thieves Town is the single arrow is above the post.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's doubling up the hints in a very, very awkward way.
No, that was the only hint. I just said that after I saw the single arrow.
Oh, you commented on the single arrow. My mistake.
All right, so GTG looks like they're going to go ahead and do the Eastern Palace and pod play, which is nice because they do have the Eastern Palace big key. Should be able to clear that out.
Meanwhile, GTG now has all of his medallions, so I don't know if it was him or DaringRetreat who checked Turtle Rock, but either way, he can get into Turtle Rock now, so no point checking him anymore. I think it was DaringRetreat that checked Turtle Rock, actually. So GTG pays off everyone's favorite extortionist, Kiki the Monkey, 110 rupees out of his pocket, and immediately warps to the Light World and goes to Eastern Palace.
DaringRetreat picks up the piece of heart out of the Maiden's chest, and we're going to go to the big chest of Thieves Town.
And let's see what is in here. 50 bucks.
Now, keep in mind, as far as logic is concerned, actually 3 of the items here in the back of Thieves Town are locked by the small key. So it's still pretty nice that you did get that small key. It tends to point you more solidly in the direction of Thieves Town.
And today, Blind says, winter is a great time to chill.
You're not wrong,
Guess he's
Blind.
right. Guess he's right. And go ahead.
Yeah. No. We got the green pendant, 10 arrows off a blind, and very nicely done for DaringRetreat. We'll see what that green pendant has to offer us later, I'm sure, but GTG is about to go in and finish out Eastern Palace, it looks like.
GTG did not check the hint tile that he just walked by in Eastern Palace. I don't recall if he was actually in here earlier. I don't think he was. So he will not check that hint tile, it looks like.
I think he might be intending to check it on the way back, because he's going to have to go through that room a second time. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The DaringRetreat walks by Gary. We don't have his lunchbox yet because he didn't do the dwarf quest yet. Doesn't have the mirror, so not even thinking about that right now. But we know that we do have to visit Gary later to get, I think it was, to get one of the big keys. I think it was Turtle Rock's big key, if I remember correctly. Now, GT did sequence break this chest, the big key chest in Eastern Palace. There's just a big 20 in there, though, so there's no sequence really broken here. And there's the hint tile check. The big key of Evil Bane is on a boss. Ooh, boy.
That's important. Now, it's on a boss. That just means it's going to be dropped by a boss.
Yes, as soon as you finish a fight.
It could be Armos for all we know. Could be Helmasaur. Could be Argus.
Yeah, it could be right back here in the Armos Knights. DaringRetreat gets his hint on the boots requiring a bomb. Yes, I have them already. Thanks, game.
Oh, I hope it's not Cold Stare.
Yeah, if it's Cold Stare, that's going to be awful for Daring Retreat. He could have had that already.
Now, Daring Retreat did just pick up the mirror, which is good for him.
A question
at the very
in
least,
chat.
that allows him to get the flute.
Didn't mean to cut you off. A question in chat. What is the big key of Evil Bane? Ganon's Tower big key is the big key of Evil's Bane. It's most entertaining to see that phrase when it's on the pedestal. And yes, I have seen that.
And of course, new with version 30, the hint tiles in Key Sanity mode are guaranteed to have at least... There's guaranteed to be a hint that tells you the rough location of the Ganon's Tower big key, which is right there on the Armos Knights.
Let's see. Let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, if you said location number, let's call it 70, you win. Very interesting that the hint tile saying the Ganon's Tower big key is on a boss is in the dungeon of the boss that has the Ganon's Tower big key. That's a very strange twist today. As GTG is heading towards, I'm going to say he's heading towards the castle tower. He knows he has one of those keys. He knows he can access 2 of those chests and has the fire rod. Even though the second chest is locked by the lantern logically, he can use the fire rod to light up the room and find his way around. So he is going to get those 2 chests at this time.
Yeah, and the second room, if you're just going to the chest, it's not that hard to navigate without the fire rod. If you're going through the rest of the dungeon, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, the pits in the room later on make that really hard to make your way through. I don't know. I want to see the Cast Tower big key in the vanilla location here.
And he's trying like GTG did not land a shot on the torches, so he's just going to have to feel his way out. But it looks like he's got the map down here.
Wouldn't be surprising if he actually had the map next to him for this particular attempt.
It's a pod key.
It is a Palace of Darkness key. Interesting. And meanwhile, we didn't even notice Daring Retreat pick up the lunchbox. He did take the dwarf home. Didn't even see what that item was. But there's that big key to Turtle Rock.
I believe that. I believe it was a just a big 20 on the dwarves.
GTG attempted to buy some potion to get a magic refill. Was told he didn't have an empty bottle. So what does he do? He gives the witch a bee. Here, witch, enjoy your bee.
It does look like Daring Retreat will also be making the swamp play, so that's going to give Daring Retreat access to the flute.
Let's see if he goes straight to Misery Mire and if he does the fire lock side of Misery Mire, because once he gets the fire rod out of that big chest, that opens up those 2 chests. Daring Retreat gets his hint that the grumpier fish in the Dark World has some money. I think he's the one who did visit Zora already.
Talk about your heads-up plays. GTG remembering that, you know, he went on a little bit of a trip here and never mirrored. Or never took a portal, so he could just get back in the portal outside of Eastern.
That's very nice play, yes. And yes, that's a thing we already know because Daring Retreat found that hint earlier about the specialist to unlock the Turtle Rock Big Key. GTG has not done that quest yet, so he still has to get that. GGG takes a moment to restock his arrows from the drops in the first of the Gorilla rooms. We normally call them mimics. And he's going to open those 2 chests now. Now, Daring Retreat has gone through here already. This is not new information to us as he gets his 10 sticks. There's the Master Sword for GTG now. So at this point, the runners are currently retracing each other's steps. So I just want to take this moment to remind everyone, follow these 2 runners. They're doing a good job putting on a race for us today. And a very fun race to watch and commentate so far. I'm sure they appreciate your support, so give them a follow.
Yep. So Daring Retreat will be picking up the flute shortly. GTG has several pod keys here and will be getting quite a few items out of this area. He's not doing the hammer jump just yet, mainly on account of there being additional chests over here to the right that you want to deal with before you kind of block yourself in.
Precisely. I think you'll come around and do that again, going through the other room, possibly.
And we're checking the Harmless Hellway, which today has bombs. And GTG is readying the bombs for the all-important hammer jump, saving you a nice key.
Yep, he has that 1 key. He wants to save that key for something else. So let's see if he can pull off the hammer jump today. Gonna be close. No, but I didn't think he was close enough there. So he's back to the top of the room. He has to reset the whole room. He's just going to mirror out and work his way back to the right side, the bow lock side this time.
Yeah, the reason you do this is because we haven't opened the middle door. So we're saving keys.
So we're doing this mimic room again. We've seen this before, but yes, clear it again. The enemies respawn. And grabbing the heart out of there and the arrows.
Daring Retreat managed to pick up the flute now. So we will see if he makes a beeline for Misery Mire. I probably would at this point.
Yeah, he's making me play the Sanctuary first. I think it's just to get the health refill. He's going to make his way out at that point, probably to the desert ledge to go to the Dark World. But no, what he's doing right now, he's going to... He's getting the flute. Oh, he's going to activate the flute first.
Yeah. You do have to wake up the swag duck. I think Wake Up with Swag Duck would be a morning show I'd watch.
Wake Up with Swag Duck. There you go.
Alright, so GTG is now going through the dark basement, or dark turtle basement of Pod, which, in my opinion, is the worst. But with the fire rod, it's a little bit more tolerable.
This assumes that you find the torch, and once you do find the torch, it's hammering time, because there's a lot of turtles down there. Daring Retreat does get the old man home, gets his big key from the old man to get into Tower of Hero, which is... It almost makes sense that the old man would have the Tower of Hero big key, because it's literally right on his doorstep. It's literally a neighbor.
And GTG finally gets the torch lit. Turns out, in the process, managed to kill all but one of the turtles.
That's very efficient. And he plunges back in the dark because this is a different series of rooms he's now in. But just a couple rows of turtles on the way up, and he's now in the Helmasaur King boss fight. Now, we don't have silver arrows, so this won't be as easy as we would like it to be. But he will be hammering the mask. He's already making good progress on it. Just two or three more hits and that mask is off. Normally, if you had the silver arrows, you'd throw one at the skull right now. But he's just going to do sword swings, maybe fire a couple arrows, and the boss will eventually go down. And not yet. Some fire coming out. Tail misses. Fireballs miss. And he's down.
All right, GTG taking down Helmasaur. For those of you wondering, that takes 8 slashes with the sword or arrows or combinations thereof, and that is a bug net.
And DaringRetreat gets his V-Torp from the Ether Medallion, which is now destroyed.
I don't believe there was a bee in that particular bottle.
Was that one a fairy?
No, it was just empty.
Oh, I thought I saw a bee in it.
No, the one with the bee in it was over on the right-hand side. Over at Paradox Cave, I think.
The Palace of Darkness Big Key requires the cape. Thanks, game.
All right, so DaringRetreat will be going up to face off against Moldorm. That will be a crystal for DaringRetreat as well. And that'll actually be DaringRetreat's first crystal.
Mm-hmm. And there's that Ice Palace Big Key for GTG. DaringRetreat already picked that up. So just DaringRetreat had that problem against Cold Stare, so we never actually got to see the end of that fight. But we now know that it is a pendant, so unless there's an item off of Cold Stare, we know that may not be necessary to go back in there and fight him.
Yep, and it would be interesting to see GTG, or actually DaringRetreat. Actually, I kind of want to see him turn in the green pendant soon.
Yeah, he will be able to do that when we visit the Palace of Darkness area. So it'd be very interesting to see if there is. Let's see. We have lots of things that could still be there. The powder for the magic bat, the mushroom for the witch, the hook shot itself could possibly be up there. I think. Samaria, lots of items can still be on there. Even the silver arrows. Granted, that wouldn't be a progression item. I'd be more interested in one of the progression items at this time.
All right, GTG is in Spike Cave. Gonna be cutting it pretty close on this magic. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. I think he realized it. He's doing a soft reset to try it again. So DaringRetreat does get the Moldorm fight down. He does get the crystal. GTG is going to do Spike Cave. Round 2. Fight! So the runners are now in the same general area. DaringRetreat is on the east side of Hyrule, or of Death Mountain. GTG is on the west side of Death Mountain. GTG now goes to the Dark World to get a second attempt at Spike Cave. I was actually going to Tower Hera first.
Oh yes, he did get the small key, if we recall correctly.
Did he save the completion? Oh, yeah, I guess he did. Okay, he did save the completion of Tower Hair. I was concerned he might have lost some progress there. But we seem okay. Seems that we did save that, thankfully. So he's going to give us our first coffee break today. Time for a delicious beverage while he sits on the blue tiles he missed. Well, take two. As he dodges some of the tiles there, he's getting in there to get a bomb, and he's going to try the tile break again. Now we can have a little drink. Or slash the sword mercilessly.
All right, Daring Retreat entering Paradox Cave. Going to pull a few useful things out of this particular location.
I think it's more useless things. GTG already cleared this out. I think there was only 1 or 2 keys or something like that in here.
That is the 4th Turtle Rock key.
Ooh. Now, he does not know that Gary's Lunchbox has the big key. If he does that quest, he could go... He would have all the keys for Turtle Rock. He just needs the Cane of Samaria to actually be able to make progress in the place.
I think he actually does know the Turtle Rock key now because he went to Pod.
Okay. So he may know it's there and just not be worried about it until he gets the Cane of Samaria. The thing that I would like to say, just like to see, and this is what you noted earlier, Bob, is that the green pendant could be something important. And if it is the Cane of Samaria, which GTG has not picked up the green pendant at all yet, that could be a roadblock for him. Though I'm sure he would get to it sooner rather than later.
So the 2 things I'm dying to see right now are 1, the green pendant turn-in, and 2, the left side of Misery Mire.
Yeah, that's important too. GTG did not check the left side of Misery Mire, even though he had the full capability to do so right before he, like literally just a second or 2 before he quit. DaringRetreat's trying to do the button pushes to get to the first chest of Hookshot Cave. Misses on the first attempt. Gets on the second attempt, now the second gap. And gets across. So he gets his bee in a bottle. Or is that a fairy in a bottle?
That's a bee. That is the one that was the bee. It looks like Daring Retreat will be going to get equally disappointed by Spike Cave.
He's also down low on the health already. He's going to have to rely on the magic a bit more to get through Spike Cave.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to like mirror in and out until he can actually acquire some fairies or hearts under these bushes. There's a decent chance of some health under these bushes.
That's a very interesting strategy. I've never actually seen that employed to this method before.
He is getting extremely unlucky, though. My goodness.
I thought that once you... Oh, he has no potions. I thought that once you open the bushes, didn't think they got restocked like that. Do they get restocked?
They do if you take a different portal.
Ah, okay.
And or maybe you can also take the same portal, but you can't mirror bonk. Like if you just mirror and then it takes you right back, that doesn't change it.
No, of course not.
Daring Retreat acquiring 2 different flavors of potion.
Got a little variety. I don't blame him for wanting some variety in that in the drinking.
It looks like he's headed right back for that Spike Cave play.
So both runners had some adventure with Spike Cave today. GTG first ran out of not only down to his last heart, but ran out of magic and would have suffered almost certain death. Had a soft reset to get that back. DaringRetreat had a problem with low health to start with, not getting lucky on the bushes, and had to leave to find some health to work with. And he now has full health. He got one more heart, so he has that full health now, and is now going to do Spike Cave. And he does successfully get back there, and he does get his lovely, disappointing piece of health.
All right. DaringRetreat now heading out of the Spike Cave. We'll see where he heads next. I kind of feel like Meyer has to be on his mind. Nope, going for the pod play, it looks like.
GTG is going for the purple chest. He still does not have the... Well, he's doing the dwarf first, obviously. But he will be doing the purple chest immediately afterwards. He knows, as you said, most likely that the big key is in that chest. So he is going to get that. He is going to get that out of the way. But he still cannot go to Turtle Rock. He still does not have the Cane of Samaria. So we still have no information on where that is.
And today I learned there is a fairy in a tree on the right-hand side of the Murderdactyl over there.
Convenient placement, that's for sure.
All right, green pendant turn in. Just a full heart.
Not what we wanted to see, but probably not what they wanted to see either.
Now, I would normally be concerned right now, but DaringRetreat has already been into pod. So, no, he didn't leave the monkey behind.
GTG visits K45, and he does stop to pick up a fire shield in there, so get a little bit of fireball deflection out of it. And GTG never did the Stumpy play, so he gets his disappointing big 20 from Stumpy. The finances that he pretty much no longer needs. The chest gets stuck in a bush because he left it on a bush tile. That was interesting. And GTG is doing some mirror shenanigans here.
All right. So, DaringRetreat will be heading through this right-hand side of pod. Once again, trying to save as many keys as possible.
GTG is about to pick up his Turtle Rock big key, I should say. There it is. And he now has all Turtle Rock keys. DaringRetreat is still missing one of the Turtle Rock keys. Don't remember where all four were, so I'm not sure offhand which one it is he's missing. But GTG is the first to get all those keys today.
I believe he's missing the one in Hera Basement.
Okay.
GTG now checking Bombo's tablet, just 10 arrows there.
So the tablets were not the answer today, as that bat gets incinerated and leaves behind a bomb. Not picked up.
GTG once again acquiring some potions.
Is DaringRetreat going to try the... Yeah, he's going to try the hammer yump again. He's too low.
Oh!
He gives up on it immediately. And he's just going to go in.
Looked good there for a second. And looks like GTG will be making the play for Ice Palace.
5 rupees in the first chest in the dark room. I don't know if GTG checked this room or not already. If not, this is new information.
This is new information. And GTG will be going into Ice Palace and will be getting everything that DaringRetreat got and probably one more thing.
He's finding the quality of hints in Ice Palace is rather subpar today.
Did we get the third hint?
I don't know if we did. He might have gotten it, but we didn't see it because he did get the cold stare. So we just might not have noticed the third hint. So we should probably keep an eye out for that third hint this time.
All right, so Daring Retreat manages to clear out the dark maze, but still nothing really important. We're still missing both the Cane of Samaria and the hook shot. At this point, I think they're both on the left side of Mire.
You know what else could be on the left side of Mire?
What's that?
The lamp.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
Ooh, the bomb did not trigger the switch. He's going to have to go and do that a different way with the hole now emptied. So there's that second useless hint for GTG.
Both runners have been into Desert Palace because that was the location of the mirror.
And Daring Retreat gets a big 20 from the top of the stairway and soft resets. He found some useless items in Palace of Darkness, decided to save his keys and not have to find the rest of the keys. He's going to just soft reset out of there and go back and do it with all those keys back in his hand.
All right, Daring Retreat, Mire time.
Well, he's on Death Mountain, so I'm not feeling... Oh, he's getting the flute out. He's getting the flute. Is he going to go to 6? Go to 6. He's going to 6.
And GTG picks up the small key to ice in ice, which is always fun.
So GTG is going to... Or Daring Retreat's going to get his... Well, his Mire Shed collectibles. There's that big key of Thieves Town that Daring Retreat already has as he cleared that dungeon, so GTG will be able to put that on his agenda for future reference. We do know that the green pendant from Thieves Town is just a full heart container at this time, but GTG does not know that and may consider that later as well. Daring Retreat does not pick up the boss from Checkerboard Cave.
And it looks like Daring Retreat will be making the play into Misery Mire. We'll see if he decides to continue. Oh, no, he doesn't have enough magic.
Doesn't have the magic, no. He does have some goo, though. He's going to drink that goo, and that gives him the magic. And in he goes.
So are we about to become, what, Sailor Mercury here?
I don't know all the different characters in that series, so I don't know which one that is.
Just a different uniform.
The Daring Retreat also working his way through the Wizard Robes again without the King of Samaria, so it's not a very easy clear compared to other ones, like the one you see in Ganon Tower, for example. Ooh, Beamos got a shot at him there. And there's that Thieves Town small key, so now GTG is definitely going to be putting that on his agenda.
Alright, I wonder if GTG is going to go for this third hint here. I don't remember if we saw it.
I don't remember seeing it either, and if Daring Retreat saw it, we must have been looking away when he saw it, so we're going to find out momentarily after the Firebar roasts GTG a little bit.
Looks like
he's actually going down the hole. Yeah, I don't think we saw that hint.
All right, and Daring Retreat has picked up a couple of chests here in Mire.
GTG begins his cold stare fight. Again, requires either the fire rod or the bomb down. He chooses the more flashy method.
Yep. More flashy and a little bit more economical as far as magic goes.
Correct.
Now, he does manage to keep cold stare centralized for a bit.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, the fire rod does gold sword damage against cold stare, and the lamp is there. Oh my goodness. Oh, and GTG just left the pendant. Did he check the pedestal?
No, well, I think we checked. Someone checked the pedestal. I don't know if he did. That's risky leaving the pendant behind.
If anyone checked it, it was him.
So a question from our trackers whether we count that as done. I'm going to say no. We do not count that as a finished dungeon because
right,
he
left
did
check the pedestal
behind. So because he did not pick up the pendant, he got the lamp but did not pick up the pendant. So we would consider that not being a finished dungeon, but because he already checked the pedestal, we know that's not going to be a big deal anyway.
All right, so Daring Retreat has acquired the fire rod and is heading to the left side of Misery Mire.
And this is something that GTG did not check. So it'll be very interesting to see first what's in the chest up here. Gotta be something important at this time. Nope, just 10 arrows. But the other chest down here has to be something important because, you know, there's always something important on Firelock's side of Misery Mire.
That's not entirely accurate, but in this case, I think the odds are extremely high.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a Cane of Samaria or something like that over here.
We're
going to get a hint first.
Ah, he's been told where the fourth Turtle Rock key is now.
Yep, and he has not picked up that key yet. Well, we knew something had to be over here, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Cane of Samaria is in the Misery Mire left side, Torchlock side, and SAGTG did not check this when he got the fire rod in Misery Mire.
So yeah, GTG is going to be basically kicking himself after this.
Now, with that said, GTG, the question will be, is this going to affect whether he potentially wins this race? It could if he doesn't go back to it for a while. Because Turtle Rock is a very item-dense location. There's a lot of things in there. So it's very possible that there's some important things in Turtle Rock he can't get to. And he's going to check everything else he can before remembering to get to Misery Mire. So there's that, and the hook shot is missing as well, I should point out. So the hook shot could be that item that's missing somewhere. I don't know where it would be yet. But not having that Cane of Samaria locks a lot of items that he can't get to right now. That's really going to affect his game at this time.
I would say that the hookshot is very, very likely to be in Turtle Rock.
I'm starting to wonder that too. I didn't want to say that because I didn't know logically if that was possible, but I'm thinking because they have the hammer, yes, with the hammer and being able to work your way back down the mountain, yes, it can be. I had to think about that. So it would be very interesting to see that hookshot hiding in Turtle Rock.
You can have hookshot. You could have it on Trinex for all I know. If you asked me, I would say that the most likely location for it at this point is probably Laser Bridge. But it could very well be in like the vanilla big key chest.
I'd like to see the hook shot in the big chest just for fun.
That would be pretty fun. It does look like Daring Retreat, according to our tracker at least, does not have the Tower of Hera small key. Which means he will be unable to acquire that 4th T-Rock key. Which means he'll probably skip the big key chest. Not the big chest, but the big key chest.
I think the Tower of Hera key was somewhere on Death Mountain, was it not?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember where that was. Maybe chat can help us out with that.
No, Ice Tea Room was the Thieves Town small key.
Yeah, it was not Ice Tea Room. As you said, that is Thieves Town.
Big key was Old Man. We're talking about small key here.
Yeah, that was the big key. The small key is the one I'm trying to find. And I was trying to figure out if you might have meant Sahasrara. We know it wasn't Sahasrara either. Or Agina.
Oh, was it potentially the big chest of Eastern?
It might have been Eastern. That's possible. And because he hasn't done Eastern Palace yet, that would make sense as he gets the map to Swamp Palace, which, well, not really that useful.
We do know now that Desert Palace is the remaining pendant, so that means that Swamp is our remaining crystal. So we're going to need to acquire that hookshot before we reach Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is looking likely, and even though I said the big chest would be a fun way to do it, and he noticed, by the way, that he's taken the long way around because he cannot hookshot to the torches. So he's going to take the long route so he can get back in time and be able to get in the door.
I remember where Hera Small Key was. It was in the back of Skullwoods.
Ah, okay. So I said big chests would be fun. The hookshot could very well be back here, though, and that would be kind of evil given the room it's behind. Nope, just a Tempered Sword and a key to Ganon's Tower. Well, I think that's our 4th Ganon's Tower, Small Key.
There is that. But hey, free Tempered Sword. I'm all aboard. I'm all about that. How about I words?
Yep, that's a great sword to have.
But yeah, the longer GTG gets debated by all of these other plays, the longer the Cane of Samaria is going to sit on the left side of Mire.
And it will be even more important if we do find, whether it's the hookshot or something else, hiding in here. That would lead to the importance for him to get back to Misery Mire as soon as possible.
That is about the best place I can think of for the Sanctuary Heart. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, after getting bitten by Chompy, of course you want to heal right away. That's a beautiful place for that.
All right, so Daring Retreat will now be heading to steal this key. If he goes to the center, then he's going to need another key before he can finish Turtle Rock. So we'll see what he decides to do. Yeah, he's going to steal it.
Oh, I don't know if I like that play.
Well, I mean, you basically have to. Like, if you don't steal the key, then you're leaving behind the crystal.
This could be playing into his gamble, too, though, because he knows that the last Turtle Rock key is in Tower of Hera. He just hasn't gotten the Tower of Hera small key yet. So he knows once he gets the small key for Tower of Hera that he'll be able to get that last key. If he probably will not be too worried about getting that unless he runs out of locations to look. Then he'll just come popping back in here again to see what's on that island. So this does play into Daring Retreat's strategy of taking risks, which is something he said he was thinking of doing with this race.
All right. Now, did we get a Mimic Cave hint? I don't think we did.
No, I don't remember one. We did not.
Yeah, I think that was the earlier race I was in where there was a Mimic Cave hint.
And we're already having calls in chat for hookshot at Pyramid Fairy. Ugh.
Look, I mean, that could be a thing.
It could be.
It's kind of gross. Just based on the fact that you had to go into Swamp first.
It's not only is it gross, it's completely unsavory.
Now, that being said, I'm pretty sure at this point there's not much left that didn't require the swamp dip. So, there's the hook shot.
I think I called both King Samaria and hook shot today. Oh my goodness. Well, there's the hook shot in Turtle Rock in the big chest. That's going to open up a lot for Daring Retreat, and that's going to make GTGs not checking the left side for the King of Samaria a lot more tragic.
All right, go with me on this journey, okay? If Daring Retreat goes to beat Skull Woods, he's in go mode.
Let me think about that. Where is he on keys?
I mean, he's good.
He did check the pod chest. He did a soft reset, so he has all of his keys back. He can just go straight to the boss, I think. He does have the Swamp Palace keys. Skull Woods doesn't really need the keys too much. Ice Palace, he just has...
One thing we can say is that he's had some trouble with some of those dark rooms, especially Misery Mire. So he might want the lamp, but he's going to have to go kill Pendant Cold Stare to get that to happen.
Yeah. And I question whether he will do that.
It looks like GTG is heading into Misery Mire.
He's about to make up the difference because he's 3 dungeons ahead. Now, one of them is the Thieves' Town Pendant, which they both have. So he's technically ahead by 3 crystals. He will make up some time here as soon as he gets that King of Samaria. Probably bash himself or slash the chest or something.
Right, I've just been corrected. It wouldn't be go mode for Daring Retreat, but it would lead him to go mode because you'd need to get... The reason I said go to Skull Woods is the Eastern Palace big key is there. And then in Eastern Palace you'll get the Ganon's Tower big key. So that's the important...
Oh yes, that's on the Armos Knights, you are correct.
I just kind of combined all those steps into one in my head. Alright, Daring Retreat now taking an intentional death, I'm pretty sure.
I think so, yeah. I think he opened the back door, so that was intentional to get his health back.
The Eastern Palace big key is on Moth.
So we're going to probably be able to expect some incoming raid from SAG2G as he finds the King of Samaria back here. So the wall is going to finish moving momentarily, and once the wall has finished moving, there it is. He's going to drop down the hole. Incoming rage in 3, 2, 1.
Nope, GTG's all business today.
Yep, not even thinking about it. Daring Retreat, meanwhile, starts the Trinex fight. I have a feeling GTG will be heading to Turtle Rock soon with all the keys in possession. So Daring Retreat, so he's going to follow behind and take out Trinex himself. Daring Retreat gets bitten by the middle head a little bit, working on the ice head right now. Gets out of the way of that bite. And is going to take out the turtle itself momentarily.
All right, so GTG manages to get through the dark room there pretty nicely because they can actually see.
Yep. Seeing is all you need sometimes.
And Daring Retreat picks up the 6th and final pod key.
That's an interesting spot for it. So, Palace of Darkness was not in Logic, because you have to have all 6 keys for it to be considered fully in Logic, I think. If Palace of Darkness was not in Logic until you beat Turtle Rock.
And Daring Retreat now has the 2 crystals, and those 2 crystals are the 5 and 6 crystals. So he may actually do the Pyramid Fairy check before going to do, like, Skull Woods or whatnot.
He might. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if silver arrows are in there?
That would be interesting. Though we did just get the hook shot, so I think it might be Swamp Time.
Yeah, he has not done Swamp Palace yet. He is definitely going to Swamp Palace right now. GTG, meanwhile, is doing the Visine boss. Takes out all the eyes. The big one comes to life in the middle and just keeps getting bounced back and doesn't have a chance. So GTG.
Why do I keep hearing the voice of Ben Stein?
So GTG gets that crystal. That will be crystal number 5 for him. He needs, in terms of crystals, the Swamp Palace crystal. And the crystal that is located, just figure out, yeah, Turtle Rock. So Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock. And Turtle Rock is where he's going to go right now. Swamp Palace will be a later destination. And you were absolutely right on Daring Retreat doing Pyramid Fairy. He's dragging the big bomb behind him. We will get to see what's in there. Now, it may not be the silvers. It could be the mushroom, the powder, or anything like that, but it won't be what he wants to see. But I still want to see silvers.
We've got a small key to Castle Tower.
Nice.
And the map of Pod. There we go.
And he quickly does the map check to confirm that, yes, it is a crystal.
And Daring Retreat is going to go ahead and go for the pod, or not pod, the Castle Tower play, just to see what's in here. Gonna be disappointed. Like you do. Now, I think GTG will probably go ahead and check the big key chest.
He still needs the hook shot, and it is before the hook shot, so I guarantee you he will check that chest, because he has all the keys.
Yeah, so we'll get to see what sort of shenanigans are in there.
And GTG is still checking the hint tiles. He wants to know where that hook shot is. He's looking for a hook shot hint. The good news that he does not know yet is that it's in here. He is going to find it very shortly. It is in that big chest.
So we can say with absolute certainty that you did have to dip into Swamp Palace without the hook shot to complete this seed.
That is correct. I'll just restate what that logic is. You need... before I do that, GTG realizes he does not have the hook shot, and he's very, very upset with himself right now for doing the shortcut method. So he's going to have to make another trip around here, and may need some more magic.
He's actually going to need to refill magic, yeah.
Need to refill the magic. But back to what you were saying here. There's a magic jar down here, so he'll be fine. He just has to make another trip around. So back to what I was saying. Yes, you have to visit Swamp Palace in order to go back and double dip Swamp Palace. The flute is at the very end of what the area you would normally use the hook shot, if you have it, to save some time on a second trip. That hook shot at the end of the left side in Swamp Palace leads you to Misery Mire, which leads you as far as you can go into the Misery Mire to get the fire rod out of the big chest, which takes you to the Cane of Samaria on the left side, which GTG did not get for a long time. Daring Retreat was the one to find that first, as GTG gets his Bacon Blade. And once you have the Cane of Samaria, you have to come here to Turtle Rock to get your hook shot, to go back to Swamp Palace to finish off Argus. So that not only was that a required double dip, that was literally a triangle.
I believe that is what we in the business call gross.
Just a little bit.
I wonder if Daring Retreat remembers what the contents of the Swamp Palace Big Chest is. Oh, he's already opened it.
I don't know if he got that hint before he actually opened it.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so Daring Retreat will be finishing off Swamp. It's going to be a little bit. And of course, Daring Retreat is still looking for the big key of Eastern. So he's still going to have, and of course GT. So he's still going to have to go check some of these other chests down here.
Well, GT has cleared Eastern Palace, if that's what you were noting there. I am seeing we are going to get new information on the Lava Island in Turtle Rock. Just a compass. For Skull Woods, that's useful.
Technically required in logic. So that might be why you got all 4 Turtle Rock keys. But also Trinex is technically requires all 4 Turtle Rock keys as well.
Correct. So Daring Retreat is going to stop to pick up the pot key, which you have to get open the door at the end of this room. Those spiders on the water are just nasty. I never like those spiders.
Yeah, they're particularly awful. They move with, I believe, the same random number generator that Argus uses. So, like, depending on how far you have to go, or how far they're going to move, is governed by the same random number sequence.
Possibly. And look, speaking of Argus, we are fighting that octopus right now. Daring Retreat gets the eyes down in very significant fashion. Now using some spin slashes to get hits on the central octopus. And we have some calamari on that side, as GTG gets his bottle from the Mimic Cave. And a full heart container from the octopus today.
And GTG picks up the hook shot.
Now I'm just taking a look at his key counts. He does still need Swamp Palace, but he has the key. I think we can say at 1 hour, 52 minutes, 58 seconds, I think we can say that he is in go mode.
That does look like the case to me as well.
And as GTG rushes to the back of Turtle Rock, Daring Retreat prays the gods for his second time and crumbles another tablet and incinerates a bat. And then makes a phone call to Swag Duck Airlines to make his way over to the witch, getting some health because he still does not have the mushroom. He leaves the bee outside this time.
Major upside with Swag Duck Airlines is there's like, there's no baggage fee, and you don't have to book days in advance. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's the most economical airline ever. You toot the flute and it shows up. And GTG is a little concerned right now. He's still looking up chests. I find this interesting. Maybe he does not realize he's in go mode.
It's possible, but I mean, you could also just be looking for silvers or something else. Just like a piece of heart at this point to sort of refill his health, maybe.
And I think after he gets this chest, he's going to take the intentional death. Yeah, he just fell, so he's going to take the death, get his health back.
All right, looks like Daring Retreat is going to go for Skull Woods now, so he's going to get that big key of Eastern, which will allow him to go finish off Eastern Palace and also Pod.
Fire Snake was giving him a little bit of trouble there, but he got through there.
GTG going for the backside strats here. Now, with the Tempered Sword, this cannot lead to a 0-cycle fight, but it's still pretty useful as far as mitigating the chance that the Ice Head does any shenanigans all over the floor.
It can't breathe behind it, that's for sure. And very, very economical kill of Trinex by GTG. That is now dungeon number 6 for him today. He just has
a very nice moth kill for Daring Retreat as well.
Yep. And he does have to go back, GTG that is, has to go back to Swamp Palace. Daring Retreat has already done Swamp Palace, but he is significantly behind in the dungeon count. Skull Woods will come off on the tracker right now. Yep, there it is. He still has to do Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. So he is it is a 2. Oh, and
Misery Mire, yes.
Finish Misery Mire too. So it's a 3 dungeons to 1 for GTG. That's a 2 dungeon deficit for Daring Retreat to make up here.
If he can't manage to pull off the Dark Room in Mire, he may end up having to kill Cold Stare first.
Yeah, that can be a little disgusting. But it is considered the logical play to kill Cold Stare before doing the Dark Rooms.
So that turns out to be the entire reason that the game gave you access to Ice Palace so early. And we'll note that the game also expected you to have the Cane of Samaria before defeating Cold Stare.
Correct, and this is why Misery Mire was completely unlocked, like literally 8 minutes into the seed. I think we had all 3 keys. So Misery Mire was the most important part of the puzzle today, from what I can see.
All right, so GTG will be making his way through Swamp. This will be a pretty quick run. Judging based on what we've seen so far, there's a good chance GTG will go ahead and check some of the other chests in here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to look for those silver arrows from what we can see. I don't believe that we are going to find them in here, because Daring Retreat would have found them if they were in here. So silver arrows are somewhere else. I'm guessing at this point they're probably in Ganon's tower, or they could be in some unchecked chests in Desert Palace. Ganon will tell us later if we don't find them, but we're probably not going to use them at that time.
All right, GTG also remembering the hint about the Swamp Palace big chest, so not bothering with that.
With that said, given that it only takes an extra second to open, I'm surprised that it wasn't just a habit, force a habit just to open it, but saves about a second.
And Daring Retreat making nice use of the fire rod to make this turtle room much, much simpler.
Very nice, I agree.
And gets that last hammer blow in right before the torch dissipates.
Mm-hmm. This is a very clean, empty room, so you can just push the block and go with the portal. And he is off to fight Homosar King as he gets through the turtles with some good hammer pounding in the dark. So here we go again with Homosar King. This will be crystal number 5 for him.
Daring Retreat with some very nice strats without holding the sword out here. Pretty good execution here. And if you get 4 hits with the tempered sword, that will take care of Helmasaur.
Very clean, very clean.
Now it does look like SA_GTG, aka GTG, aka Sailor Moon, is about to take down the 7th crystal boss and head for Ganon's Tower.
Now, normally this would be where we would say to you in chat, hey, chat, let's play a game. Let's find the... Wait, we already found it.
Yeah. If we were going to do the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game for Key Sanity, we'd need to start it at the very beginning and have the count range from 1 to 211, and then there would have to be somebody whose job it was to count the items for both players. And that sounds like the worst kind of job.
Well, they'd only have to count for 1 player, but still, that would be a horrible job. I've tried doing that for fun before when I wasn't commentating or tracking, and it is so easy to lose count and miss a chest somewhere when you see what the other person's doing. So, like I said earlier, we're going to call it location number 70. That's close enough. If you guess 70, congratulations.
On the credits screen, it says how many Ganon's Tower chests you opened before finding the big key.
Yeah, the count on the credit screen only shows for total in Ganon's Tower, so it would basically say 0 out of 23. He already has the big key. So I don't know if that's something that the devs would want to add in the future to give us an idea where the count would have ended up, and this would be something that would let us play that game on a regular Key Sanity game, and we would then just punch in the winner at the end of the race, obviously. But I don't know if that's something that would work from the perspective of a live call for a Key Sanity race, but it would be an interesting way to do the to at least incorporate that and give us an idea where that key was in the search.
All right, Daring Retreat about to go face off against the Armos Knights once again without the silver arrows, so we'll be resorting to fairly vanilla strats here as GTG enters Ganon's Tower. Now, there's a chance GTG will check some of these other chests for the silvers, but I think he's just going to go upstairs.
No. He'll check the few upstairs, if anything. He doesn't want to spend too much time down here because he knows it's 2 hours into the race. He
knows how long it took him to find the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, he knows he's behind on the Cane of Samaria, and he's thinking Daring Retreat's already upstairs. So we know that that's not the case. We know he has time to look for the silvers if he wants to, but he's not going to. For all he knows, Daring Retreat could already be fighting Ganon. He's just watching for the dot done.
Alright, GTG taking care of both of the Mimic rooms, and we move on to the Spike room. Spike Gore room? I don't know. We get over to Ganon Ball Run.
That sounds like a ride at an amusement park that you would not want to go on.
You are probably correct. And we move on to the Gauntlet. 5 rooms of enemies to kill, and nicely done in that first room. All of these enemies also coincidentally having some of the greatest amount of RNG associated with their movement.
And then add to that BMOs on conveyor belts.
And now BMOs on ice!
The conveyor belt rides are getting worse and worse here at this amusement park. So DaringRetreat is now heading downstairs in his quest to conquer all the dark rooms without a lamp and with a fire rod. Now, I believe there is a torch down here he can light. I'm not sure where it's located, but I think there is some way he can make his way through here with the torch if he can find, with the fire rod, if he can find the torch.
Are we talking Misery Mire? Because there's not.
Oh, there is not. Okay, I thought there was. I should look at that map again sometime.
Okay, that looked like it would have been good. Okay, so the idea that I know to do here for the mire... Oh, he got it! Alright, so DaringRetreat has conquered the switch room of Dark Misery Mire, and that is basically the hard part. GTG is going to go ahead and grab the refill magic here.
And GTG working his way through the 6th floor of Ganon's tower. There are 7 floors to this tower, so once he finishes off the Moldorm fight a few rooms away, he's going to be upstairs to the Aghanim 2 fight. Why is it called the Aghanim 2 fight? Well, it's an Aghanim fight that's harder than the previous Aghanim fight, which we call Aghanim 1 fight. So it's the Aghanim 2 fight.
But I mean, what other Aghanim fight?
Well, we didn't see this Aghanim fight because he wasn't required in the seed, so Aghanim 1 was just not seen.
Some people would argue we should call this Aghanim 3 because there's 3 of them.
That's a good argument. Ooh, GTG takes a spill back to the lower floor, care of Trolldorm Air.
But also, can we talk about that nice little half magic that GTG picked up on the way up?
That is very nice.
Good. Unfortunately, no silvers, and GTG accidentally activates Rage Mode. Must have had a poke at some point.
I think it was a poke and a swing, or something along those lines.
So that is going to put DaringRetreat on 7 crystals as well. Where are you going, DaringRetreat?
Might be too little too late, though, because he still has the entire Ganon's tower to do. It would take a couple of 2 or 3 Ganon falls from GTG in order to possibly put DaringRetreat back in this. So GTG is he's going to gain arrow refill. Not a bad play.
Good call.
GTG steps across the Mothula mat into the Aghanim 2 room and begins the fight.
And
a double. And a blue ball.
Like you do.
And that's another double.
Yep, 1 more hit, and that will do it. All right. Takes it down. 2-1-2-1 for the cycles there, and it's time for Ganon.
Yep, it's time for the big pig. And let's see what kind of facts Ganon wants to give us today, or if he just wants to make some kind of ultimatum. We'll find out in a moment. DaringRetreat having trouble with the dead rock, trying to get back into Turtle Rock entry. Join me here, and I shall make you the greatest force, or else you shall die. I think that's the other way around, Ganon.
Ooh, and GTG gets the best possible Ganon positioning for Phase 2.
That's beautiful positioning, yes. Yeah, very quick Phase 3. So now the floor tiles are going to start going out around the external perimeter of the arena. At this point, if GTG were to end up in that area, he would fall down into a normally unvisited room that you would have to exit back into the pyramid area and then come back and start the fight right from the beginning.
I don't know anyone who has ever been to that room. I don't know what you're talking about.
No one who is in this tournament has been to that room because everyone in this tournament is too good to ever have been in that room.
All right, so we do in fact see that Ganon's tower held the silvers.
And DaringRetreat did not check out the basement either. Again, same idea. He doesn't want to waste time when he knows GTG could be close to finishing, which in this case he is.
The Silverless Ganon, by the way, for those of you who are uninitiated, ideally, sort of on the surface, you would expect to have to use the silver arrows to finish off Ganon, but in the final phase of the fight, as he's teleporting away, he is vulnerable for about 3 frames, and that's why you're able to get those damage shots in. GTG pulls it off in a very spectacular fashion, and should be finishing shortly.
Yep, crossing the line. And what is the Triforce going to say to us today before we get the official time? The Triforce is going to say to GTG, OMG.
The official time is 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. Congratulations, GTG.
And we'll see if we can get him in here for an interview to chat about the seed a little bit. I already know a question I want to ask him.
Does it have to do with the Cane of Samaria?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
And it sounds like we are joined by the winner, GGG. GG.
Thank you. And GG to DaringRetreat as well. From what I can tell, it seems like it was a pretty close race, at least for a good while.
Oh, yeah. DaringRetreat was easily the first one to grab a certain item, which I'm sure you were perfectly happy with seeing late in the run.
Yeah, I actually want to ask you about that. When you went to Misery Mire and you picked up the fire rod, why did you leave?
Okay, I've got a really great and entertaining answer for that. DaringRetreat and I did our game 2 earlier this afternoon, and that game had a hint that the fire-locked section of Mire had useless items, just junk. And for whatever reason, I misremembered that hint as being from this game.
Oh, that is unfortunate right there.
Oh my.
We did think there was a high likelihood of there being an item there on account of you guys having found all 3 Misery Mire keys so early, because those are the only chests that even care at all about Misery Mire keys in the logic.
Yeah, yes, it was calling out to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was just agreeing that those were very early.
Yeah, I think you had them all about 8 minutes, maybe up to 10 minutes. And as soon as we saw that, we were both calling immediately. There were probably something in most likely that firelock section of Misery Mire, and oh boy, did that deliver today.
Yeah, when I finally got it, my thinking was, 1, this is the second time today I've been trolled by the Cane of Samaria, of all things. 2, well, I lost, so I just took it in stride and figured, well, let's just finish the seed anyway.
Yep, and it turned out that you still ended up winning this race, mainly due to some trouble that your opponent had with different boss fights and such, and dark rooms, because those are kind of related. Your opponent took a death to cold stare, and
so didn't get the lamp,
and also had a lot of trouble doing the Misery Mire dark rooms.
Yeah, if he had actually finished the cold stare boss fight, not only would he have had the lamp, it would have made for a bit of a time save for him, and this would have been probably a closer race because of that. So that cold stare death pretty much cost him the race, I think.
That's easy to imagine, but a Mire death, especially in the dark, can really cost a lot of time.
There we go. Daring Retreat finishes off Aga 2 as well. We will see the Ganon fight for Daring Retreat as well.
Bonks into the wall a few times to, I don't know if it was frustration or just for swag.
So, I believe both of our runners here said that they weren't too terribly experienced with the key sanity thing. I'm assuming this was the randomly chosen match. Am I making that up?
That is correct.
So what'd you think of the key sanity aspect?
It wasn't too bad, and thinking about the way the seed flowed in general, if I had not made that error in Mire, I think I would have been on a pretty solid route overall.
I have one very important question.
Before we ask that question, Bob, I just want to answer a question in chat. There were questions what the vetoes were for today's seed. Daring Retreat vetoed Retro, and GTG vetoed Uncle Assured. Those were the ones that were vetoed for today's randomization. Go ahead with your question.
Very important question. Did you ever go back and open the chest in Sanctuary?
No, that was a map, wasn't it?
Well, it was a map, but it wasn't the Hyrule Castle map.
Oh, right. It's Key Sanity. It doesn't have to be... Oops.
It was the Turtle Rock map, it turned out, but we found it kind of amusing that you were like, no, I didn't find the map, so I'm not opening that.
Yeah, those habits, they can get you sometimes. I even thought about opening that chest, but I couldn't think of a good reason to. Just gotta play Key Sanity more and get some of those non-Key Sanity habits out, I guess.
I mean, if you don't plan on doing a whole lot of Key Sanity in the future, I wouldn't, pollute your mind with that sort of filth. But, but it's a good time either way, I think. And Daring Retreat did an excellent job here on the Ganon fight. Got the torch glitch with the fire rod, which is pretty sweet, and is pulling off the Silverless fight.
And this is obviously a much harder Ganon fight than if you had the silvers. If you have the silvers, you just have to plant 4 silver sticks into the side of him, and it will go down. But you have a lot more sword swings. As he does get enough sword swings in and takes out the pig himself, crossing 2-hour, 18-minute threshold will have an official time for you as soon as he crosses the bridge. With that said, there he goes. And the official SRL time for Daring Retreat in second place is 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 9 seconds. And we'll see if he joins us as well.
All right, so that was a very, very nice run from both players. And we are now joined by Daring Retreat. Congratulations on finishing. GG.
Thanks.
I just want to ask you one question. What do you think was the major deficit or problem that led to the loss today, in your opinion?
So it was a lot of it was the Mire Dark Room. I just was standing a bit too far left to throw the block, and then just like a bunch of sloppy execution.
I actually want to ask another question. Do you know where the lamp was?
So I was actually chatting with SAGGTG and found out that it was on Cold Stare, but that was kind of what I assumed, and I just kept going with the logic, assuming that.
Yeah, that's Death to Cold Stare, I think, really, and I'm just spitballing here, so to speak, but I think that Death to Cold Stare probably cost you decent amount of time trying to work your way around those dark rooms, especially the ones that didn't have torches to light with the fire rod. And I actually feel this could have been a lot closer race if you'd pulled that fight off. It was unfortunate to see that death there.
Yeah, I guess I know what I need to practice though.
Sometimes the bosses just come up on, just make things a little difficult on you. You came in there with a little less health than you might have wanted to. So you said that you hadn't done a whole lot of key sanity either. So how did you feel about this particular layout? Did it mess with your head at all, or did you manage to keep it straight basically?
It seemed mostly fine. I'd lost a couple of races recently because I didn't go to pod early enough, so I ended up going there a bunch.
Yeah, the pod play, there was some good stuff in pod. The Ice Palace Big Key was there. That got you the blue mail, and in the logic, of course, it got you the lamp, which... so once you had the big key of Ice Palace and the small key from within Ice Palace, as well as the Cane of Samaria from the left side of Mire, that's what allowed you to access Cold Stare in the logic. So the game wanted you to double dip Mire for that cane, which is lame.
Yeah, that was a we were discussing the actual chain on air on the commentary, and yeah, you had to get the Cane of Samaria to get to actually you had to get the fire rod first to get into Ice Palace as well, but you had to get the Cane of Samaria to finish it. You had to then use that on Turtle Rock to get the hook shot to finish Swamp Palace. So to start all that off, you had to go to Swamp Palace to get your access. So that was gross.
I think the fire rod was not strictly necessary to get into ice because of the bombos, but
yeah, because of the bombos, that's right.
So yeah, this has been a very good run from both of you. I thought it was great. Let's see, is there anything you're going to take away from this race, either of you?
The Cane of Samaria is clearly not my friend, and I'm going to write up a disparaging post about it and put it somewhere.
Yeah, you should probably file that with the Phantom Ryu complaint department.
That sounds about right. For a more serious answer, I need to work on that hammer jump because that cost me quite a bit of time messing that up.
Yeah, I mean, I still do the massive amounts of pause buffer strats, so just to make sure I get it.
I gave it like 2 quick tries and just skipped it.
Yeah, one of them you looked really close on.
I wasn't close on either of those. But then I just reset and saved those keys.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call there.
So I'm looking at.
We did end up finding all the rest of those keys, though. So
yeah, I'm looking at the records here, and I don't think your game from earlier today was recorded yet. So I think that's 2 additional wins for you. I think that puts you to a 6-4 record, if I'm correct, GTG. How do you feel with your play in this tournament so far?
Well, I seem to be in a position where I'd be doing great if this was a 100% tournament. It feels like every race I play, whether I win or lose, I end up checking everywhere.
And that happens sometimes, no question.
I think that's doubly so for Key Sanity, to be honest.
Now, I mentioned... Oh, sorry.
I was just thinking, I have Zero Rush and Sonicam in this group, and I haven't played someone at all yet. So the thought of getting in the top 2, especially with Zero Rush and Sonic M having, I think, 1 loss each at the moment.
You're correct.
That does not seem likely, but I'm going to be trying my best, and if I don't make it, then I'm going to be doing my best to have fun, and that's the attitude I'm going to keep going forward.
And just to confirm what you were saying, yes, they both have 1 loss. Sonic M is 6-1, leading the group based on results up to, I think, yesterday. And Zero Rush is 5-1, so they are currently leading the group. And you are just on the outside at that 6-4 right now. But depending what happens with their remaining races, you could very well have a chance to crack the top 2 there and get in the brackets.
Yeah, I wouldn't write myself out yet, but it's not entirely up to me. Just gotta keep going.
Of course.
Hope to get a little lucky. Stop the 100% brigade.
And I want to ask DaringRetreat on the same subject of records. I won't state what your record is because we already mentioned you didn't have a win yet, and I mentioned in our pre-race discussion that you were talking about making a lot of risks today, or taking a lot of risks today. So, with that said, how are you enjoying the tournament from your perspective?
So I wasn't really expecting to make it into groups. Got in on somebody else not wanting to continue on. So I'm just happy to be playing games and just having a lot of fun.
So let's just throwing this out there. Very, very similar collection rate with the 161 to 162 situation here. So very, very close in that department. Yeah, DaringRetreat, you and I, we're in the same boat as far as record goes. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, most of them have been closer, so it's not that bad. But
yeah, I don't feel like I've done terrible in any of these races, and I don't think you have either. So this is a very close race.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just about having fun, getting in racing. So it's all good times.
All right, so with that, it's about time to wrap things up. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
I'd just like to, as always, say thanks to the Restream team, the commentators, and I'm looking forward to going back and especially listening to all that commentary, seeing if there's anything I can learn, maybe some subtle mistakes I didn't catch. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I just want to say GG to GTG, and thanks to commentary, tracker, and restreamers.
And just to know who that was, Febreze Ninja was our tracker today. So thank you very much for your help with that today, Febreze. And Ninja, we do appreciate your pushing the buttons for us and also helping keep us honest and in your ways on the tracker today. I want to cover, before we do wrap up, a couple races coming up. We do actually have another race in this tournament still coming up this evening. So taking a look at the schedule here, we do have a race between Elminster and Phileon, one of our tournament admins. They're running an all dungeons inverted seed. It is on hard difficulty, so that might take a little while because hard difficulty inverted can be very challenging, especially if you have to do 3 heart blind without a sword.
That sounds like 2 hours worth of Dark World Light World actors.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So stay tuned for that. That will be on the main Speed Gaming channel. So just Speed Gaming without any numbers on it later this evening at 11:50 p.m. is when the broadcast will start for that. Jex Ruffy, one of the commentators I really like, and Shandis are both going to be commentating that race. So look forward to that call. And tomorrow morning we have tomorrow morning we have one race. We have more races later in the day. We have a race between Fear Agent and Urior on Speed Gaming 3. We also have a doubleheader, I believe. And both races are assigned following Fear Agent and Urior on Speed Gaming 3. The doubleheader starts around 2:30 p.m. pending the previous race. And those 2 races will take place in sequence on Speed Gaming 3. So for this tournament, you probably want to have Speed Gaming 3 up tomorrow, which is where you're going to see those 3 races. But there will be other races in the evening. You can check that schedule at speedgaming.org/ALTTPR for more information, or type schedule in the chat. That will also get you the main Speed Gaming schedule, and I'm going to just cover a couple items on that very quickly. We have the Zelda 1 weekly randomizer going on right now on the Speed Gaming 3, on that same channel that you're going to want to watch tomorrow, Speed Gaming 3. and a couple races on tomorrow. It looks like the Super Mario Kart Marathon will be continuing on the main channel all day tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that is going to be going on that channel. And I see a Metroid Zero mission as another item that you can watch tomorrow about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, you won't see any of these. You'll see another race in this tournament. But for the live channel, these are races that are coming up tonight and tomorrow. So keep an eye on that schedule and keep an eye out for all these great things to watch. And we'll keep you entertained here. Bob, anything else you want to say today? Great to commentate you do as well.
Once again, thank you both. Thank you to both of our runners, GTG, Daring Retreat, our tracker, Febreze Ninja, my co-commentator, Cyclone. And I just wanted to say to the people watching right now, if you appreciate what you saw here today, the best way to support those involved is to give them a follow here on Twitch, and I'm sure we would all appreciate that very much.
And with that said, I think we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up here, unless Dr. Bob has any final words. That's Dr. Bob. I'm Cyclone. This has been Link to the Past Randomizer 2018 Fall Tournament, and we'll see you for a next race. See you later.
See you later, everybody.